What's a modern-day poison people willingly ingest? Sips coffee, takes bong hit, doom scrolls Reddit duck, I can't think of any edit. My favorite thing about this is the legions of people defending coffee and weed and literally nobody defending Reddit. Me ironically reading this as I hit my vape 15 minutes into waking up. 15 minutes? What took you so long? You know me, blanket and pillows swallowed it overnight. Morning search and destroy. This shit. 24-hour news cycle. My grandparents. All day every day. It pains me to see. I've noticed this among my age group, Boomers TV on practically 247, especially news, and it repeats the same thing over and over. Spent the day with a friend and that's all they wanted to do was sit and watch the news. They'd comment on something. Then an hour later when the same story was repeated, they'd comment age like we hadn't already heard the same thing an hour ago. I don't even own a TV and everything about my life is so very, very different. I replaced my mother-in-law's TV habit with adult coloring books and Alexa playing music all day. She's happier and no more paranoia. That's amazing, but man, aren't these people supposed to be older and wiser than us? Why do they fall for the TV bait so easily? Here's two possible pieces of the puzzle. People had a higher degree of accountability a few decades ago, or at least people in power generally acted with tact in public. So now when a channel that says news blatantly lies at all times to promote political agendas, a lot of older people seem to just believe it and roll with it. The older people in the US generally grew up with much more hateful ideologies that preach that Teresa's specific blueprint to be a good person, have a good life, etc., and anyone outside that is wrong. It still happens, of course, but instead of your parents, preacher and racist uncle or whatever being your only source of knowledge and opinion, you have access to any viewpoint and more perspectives via the internet. So the people who grew up without that diversity of perspective are easier to manipulate because of their dwelling on and voting with their hatred. Couple that with how scary change can be in general and how fast things are changing, and you can see how it's easy to whip older people into a state of panic to manipulate them. There was literally a law and accountability and fairness in news, not anymore. Those shorts videos that now are almost in every platform. If you have problems with focus and getting shit done, then you know that if you keep watching them you might end up in the next day without even realizing you haven't done anything yet. One creator I watch on YouTube has basically said I have to resort to making these shorts or I'll disappear as a creator. It's crappy that these platforms are forcing it on everyone involved. Yay, I follow a few people and they're always apologizing about clickbait titles and misleading thumbnails, but say they don't get nearly as much traffic without them. Blame the YouTube algorithm for forcing them on us since they're trying to compete with TikTok. Which I think is silly. People use TikTok because it's TikTok. If Reddit became a clone of TikTok I would leave, because that's not why I use this app. Alcohol. Social media. Outrage. It's straight up poison to your mental health, but we thrive on it, yearn for it. Places like TikTok, Twitter, and Republic Freakout pass it out like dealers for little more than some attention poisoning people to feel popular. Worse, it's useful to those in control, so Therese no escaping it. Political parties and activists need you outraged, one-tracked, immune to real empathy, and motivated to solidify their power, so here we are. Those talking videos with like 3 things happening on the screen simultaneously. Social media is already absolutely atrocious for attention span. Using that many distractions on a 30s clip just exponentially enhances the problem. Edit for people that wanted an example, in case any check back in, here's a parody on that trend being used in this video youtube.com. I don't subscribe to anybody that does that sort of shit, but the first time I saw a video that was meant to be informative, with Minecraft parkour in the background on the top half, and funny cat memes on the bottom half, I realized we've reached internet supersaturation. We can't go any lower. We've reached internet rock bottom. I hope, edit, I forgot people will see this as a challenge. We are doomed apparently. We can go deeper still. Okay, James Cameron. Processed sugars. Cutting sugar back makes me feel so much better. I've been in decent shape for most of my life. I got into running a lot last year and felt pretty good. When fall hit and the times changed, I slowed down my running. Then I had my first kid in late fall and basically stopped running altogether. Lots of quick meals mixed with holiday food and sodas and sweets to keep me moving. I didn't want to think about being hungry with a kid to manage, so I just munched on quick stuff that usually had lots of sugar in it. I've cut that all back over the last few weeks and feel a lot better. The best part is not feeling bloated. I could almost feel my gut growing during that period. Not fun. I started snacking on fruit more often, and my cravings for sour candy, chocolate, ice cream, and other things I'd binge on and feel shitty just simply fell away. Weird how that works. I'm gonna say vaping. I knocked it on the head as my New Year's resolution. First time I've been completely nicotine free, and still going strong, but I genuinely felt like I was about to cough my lungs up about 90% of the time vaping. If I have to be honest, I don't miss either, but I started vaping to stop smoking. I hate seeing young kids and teens do it, ones who wouldn't have even considered smoking. Edit, I'm talking disposable vapes, should have clarified that beforehand. I truly lucked out. When I got pregnant, I had to stop vaping for obvious reasons, but my nausea was so bad, I couldn't even be in the same room as vape juice without vomiting. Huge aversions. After I had my baby, I wanted dat nicotine again, but thankfully my aversions are still going strong. Been 3 years vape free. Energy drinks. I ordered food from McDonald's and the cashier was like, "That Monster isn't good for your heart, oh is it not? Am I not making healthy choices?" I would think that company policy wouldn't allow cashiers to say things like that, as it could persuade a customer not to buy something. You are correct. We also can't say "is that all?" or anything similar when taking orders, cause it may persuade people to end their order instead of getting more items and spending more money. Source: I work at McDonald's and was today corrected by regional advisor, or whatever the role is, when I did this. Work 5 to 6 days a week and having no life. The commuting. I knew a guy who moved from the city to the suburbs so he could enjoy lounging around his house and playing the backyard instead of being in an apartment. He spends more than an hour commuting each way, meaning he gets home, does a few chores, watches a show or plays a game and goes to bed because he has to wake up early. He actually has less leisure time to enjoy life. Personally, I'm horrendously addicted to nicotine and it's probably killing me. That high fructose corn syrup. Facebook edit, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Any social media where you're comparing your life against other people's lives. Weed today is ridiculously strong compared to the weed of my parents' generation. I know too many people my age who smoke it constantly, don't understand what it'll do to a developing brain. In my 30s and when I was in college, we were smoking what by today's standards were basically hedge clippings. I remember hearing rumors about stuff in California that was pushing 20% THC content. Now the smokers I know don't buy anything below 30%. It's nuts. Social media. This will get buried. Butte as a gay man, I'm just really wanting to know when can we talk about the dangers of poppers. Poppers is like the LGBTQ equivalent of weed. I'm not talking about the effect or intake method, I'm talking about how nobody ever wants to even consider the possibility that it could be doing harm to your body, and especially your heart. Poppers used to be used to treat angina. They actively speed up your heart and cause an arrhythmia. Especially if you are mixing it with weed. It mimics effects like taking an upper and a downer at the same time. And because the effect of popper only lasts about a minute, most guys need to take them repeatedly to make the feeling last. It's completely normal for some guys to mix poppers with weed, Viagra, meth, etc. Lots of guys are so addicted that they literally cannot have sex without it. I get so turned off when I have a hookup with a guy and he can't go 30 seconds without huffing poppers. It's such a stop and go activity that it's honestly annoying and I hate the smell. And you can buy a bottle here in Chicago for $15. There are even gay bars with popper vending machines. Please stop using that shit. I could make the same argument for those compressed sprays that people mix with poppers like Maximum Impact or Rush. But alas, nobody will listen to me. Microplastics. Wouldn't call it willingly. Even if you wanted to go out of your way to avoid them, is almost impossible. I would go so far as to say that it is impossible. Alcohol and nicotine. Misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, heat prop. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus Aurelius.